We had breaking news this morning,
gosh,
remember?
You're right.
So
of course.
The writer's strike that has been ongoing in Hollywood, put this up on the screen, for 146 days. Looks like it may be coming to a close. They have reached a tentative agreement. This, you see on the one side of your screen, is an email that went out to all Writers Guild members. They say, we've reached a tentative agreement on a new 2023 MBA, which is to say an agreement in principle on all deal points subject to drafting final contract language. That deal, of course, will have to go to a vote for the membership. They will have to approve whatever has been agreed to here. You also have some comments here. We did it. We have a tentative deal. Over the coming days, we'll discuss and vote on it together as a Democratic Union. But today, I want to thank every single WGA member and every fellow worker who stood with us in solidarity. You made this possible. We don't have a lot of details yet about what is contained in this deal. According to the New York Times, they said that the writers were able to achieve much of what they had demanded, including increases in compensation for streaming content. That was a really critical one. Concessions from studios on minimum staffing for TV shows. Guarantees that AI tech will not encroach on writers' credits and compensation. And that apparently, Saagar, was sort of the biggest sticking point at the end of the negotiations because, I mean, it's kind of understandable since the technology is so new and the contours of what it's going to mean so undefined at this point. That was the piece that they had the biggest trouble coming to an agreement with. You know, this thing looked like it was going to go on forever. There was no movement for a long time. Apparently, Bob Iger from Disney got involved, and that helped bring the parties back to the table, and they were able to negotiate this deal. Comes at a critical juncture, as you saw, you know, some cracks beginning to emerge. Drew Barrymore, Bill Maher, others planning to go back and then facing backlash and deciding, all right, we're going to hold off. We're not going to restart our shows. But it created kind of a dangerous situation because if you had a lot of these shows begin to go back on air, that obviously would have dramatically undercut the negotiating leverage of the writers. So exciting to see this. You still have the actors out. So Hollywood continues to be in sort of partial shutdown mode. But this is a big development, and we'll see what the membership thinks of it.
That's right. Yeah. The next step is that the membership themselves have to vote. So they got 11,000 or so people who will be members of the Guild who will vote to ratify said contract. I guess Bill Maher was right, though, that there was movement going on behind the scenes, so maybe he knew something that was going on. Doesn't necessarily excuse him, since he was a WAJ member who was planning on still crossing said picket line. But I do think it is a very positive development. And as you were getting to around the AI, one of the tricks that the studio kept, they're like, well, we don't know what the technology is going to be. Right. So how do we know that we can put it in there? The point, though, and actually it's very smart of them to demand it right now, was to make sure that you get some principles and protection before the technology comes. Because one of the problems we've always seen from unions and really workers across the spectrum is that as technology creeps, you know, software goes exponential. It doesn't move linearly. And so they're trying to like move backwards and trying to impose protections after things have already eaten into them. It's a smart move to see something on the horizon. It's almost like you can imagine, you know, writers or for newspapers or something demanding protections in '94 on the verge of the internet. Some smart people saw that, but by the time people were trying to make demands or renegotiate contracts or renegotiate or protect business, but at that point, the internet had completely destroyed it. So I think that we learned a lot from the early days of the internet, and they made the right call by demanding. And I mean, it was 150 days. It's a long time to go without pay.
That is a long time.
You know, to people losing housing and stuff. It's very tough.
Yeah, absolutely. So very hopeful sign that they were able to apparently, looks like, achieve a lot of what they were looking for here. And, you know, when I think about the writer's strike, the actor's strike, and the auto workers, these seem like very disparate, especially the auto workers in Hollywood seem very disparate. But at the core of all these struggles are actually that future of technology and how workers are going to fit into the future and be able to secure their own livelihood as technology advances. And the auto workers, electric vehicles are very much at the center of what's going on there, and making sure that they're going to be able to still have good union, well-paying jobs as we transition to electric vehicles. And then obviously with the actors and the writers, they were concerned about streaming, which is kind of, you know, a technology that has already been here that they were behind the 8 ball on in terms of guaranteeing and securing their own livelihood there. And then the future with, you know, LLMs and AI being able to increasingly substitute for writers. That's what the studios wanted, and being able to use likenesses to substitute for actors. So they're trying to get ahead of things there, and we'll see what the actors are able to negotiate. But, you know, we'll await details. We'll await reaction from the members themselves, who have to take a look at this and see if it is sufficient. But it all seems really encouraging, and another example where labor has been able to secure some real gains for themselves through the union process, through the strike or potential strike process. Same thing we saw with UPS and the Teamsters, which is really different from what we've seen most of our lives. All these contract negotiations have been workers taking concessions. The fact that you have even a handful of instances of things going in the other direction is a really stunning and very hopeful development.
Absolutely.
Hey guys, if you like that video, go to breakingpoints.com, become a premium subscriber, and help us build the best independent media organization on the planet.
That's right. We're subscriber funded. We're building something new. We want to replace these failing mainstream media organizations.
So again, to subscribe, it's breakingpoints.com.